state. Defense argument this morning was regarding the jury charge of 40.02 intoxication. I would like, after lunch, if you would bring me, because I can't recall the reason that I left out in that element, if you would bring me whatever information you have with regard to that, I would like to look at it after lunch, okay? All right, let's bring him in.
All rise.
All right, please be seated. I didn't hear what you said.
We arranged that for the next witness.
Okay. I was wondering, I was about to inquire about why are people sitting outside the jury box. Okay, thank you. All right, who is the next witness?
The next witness is Lieutenant Donnie Harville.
All right.
Sir, if you face the clerk and Mr. White.
You swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth.
Good morning, Lieutenant Harville. Could you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, it's Donnie Wayne Harville.
And could you spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Yes, it's Donnie, D-O-N-N-I-E. Harville is H-A-R-V-I-L-L-E.
Can everybody hear him well? Okay.
And where are you currently employed?
I'm employed by the Vandenburg University Police Department.
What is your position at Vanderbilt University Police Department?
I'm a lieutenant detective in the Criminal Investigation Division.
And could you describe some of the duties of your position as a lieutenant detective?
Yes, ma'am. We investigate all crimes that occur on Vanderbilt's campus and any Vanderbilt property inside Davidson County.
And is the Vanderbilt University Police Department, is that what some might think of as campus police, or is it affiliated with the Metro Nashville Police Department?
It's considered a campus police, but we are affiliated with Nashville Metro Police Department. We have a memorandum of understanding with them on certain crimes. We refer to them to come in and to assist us.
And what is your background in law enforcement? How long have you been in law enforcement?
I've been in law enforcement since 1998.
And where were you at before Vanderbilt University Police Department?
I started out with the City of Franklin Police Department, and then I worked for an attorney for the state of Tennessee at DCS and DHS.
And did you become involved in an investigation into an incident that occurred in the early morning hours of June 23rd of 2013 that occurred in Gillette Hall on Vanderbilt's campus?
Yes, ma'am.
And could you describe how you became involved in that incident and when you became involved?
I came involved in the incident. It was June 26th on a Wednesday morning around 10 o'clock. I received a phone call requesting me to come in and start to investigate an incident.
And what were the first steps that you took in that investigation?
I started to review video surveillance of Gillette Hall, particularly the second floor and the entrance of Gillette Hall.
And could you generally describe what you viewed when you started viewing the surveillance video?
Yes, ma'am. When we started reviewing the surveillance video, we noticed 4 males appearing to be carrying an unconscious female.
And you stated that this occurred at Gillette Hall. Could you describe for the jury what Gillette Hall is? What is that?
Yes, ma'am. Gillette Hall is a dormitory for our students on Vandenburg's campus. It's located in the campus in Nashville. It's between 21st and West End.
And you stated that you were reviewing video and that you saw persons carrying an unconscious female. Was that the reason that you began looking at the video?
That's the reason I began looking at the video. However, we have a division of Vanderbilt called housing, and usually when they have simple incidents like doors being broken or whatever, they start looking at surveillance just to see who broke a door. And I think the incident that started this was a golf cart and a door being broke. So they started looking at the video, and when they saw what we saw, they notified Vanderbilt police.
And you stated that Gillette Hall is a dormitory on Vanderbilt's campus. In June of 2013, who was assigned to that dormitory?
Athletics. The athletic students was assigned to the dormitory.
After you viewed the surveillance video that showed the 4 persons and the unconscious female, what did you do next? What was your next step?
Our next step was to identify all the parties involved, the 4 males and the female. And we started when we first saw the parties coming on campus at Gillette Hall, and until she actually left the next morning.
What thing did you do to locate evidence of that?
We start looking at the video surveillance system. We look at the gold card. The gold card system is when people get into the buildings, they have to use a gold card system. They swipe in, and that tells us who the people that are swiping in. And we started with that to start to identify the people.
And could you describe the surveillance system on Vanderbilt University campus that would have been the system at Gillette Dorm and the other areas you're looking at during 2013?
Yes, ma'am. The system that we use on Vanderbilt's campus and mostly on campus is called a NICE system. It is the system that we use and mostly is for exits and entries of the doorways, for the corridors, for the common areas, but they are not in, of course, they're not in the bathrooms or the actual dorm rooms.
In your duties as a lieutenant detective at the Vanderbilt University Police Department, could you describe how often you utilize the surveillance system?
Probably 3 or 4 times a week. It's a really good program that we use. Anytime we get any type of investigation, we usually start at our video system just to determine if we could locate any incidents on the video surveillance. I'll say probably 30 or 40% of my job is to look at video surveillance.
So it's fair to say that you're fairly familiar with the system, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Could you describe how the system works? Are all the cameras the same? Are there different cameras?
Yes, there are different cameras. We have for the NICE system, each camera is set up on a sensor, and certain movements will start it recording, and some cameras are set on sensors that are high. It takes a lot to make them start recording. Some sensors are set low, where it might record all night. And
so anything that's not shown in the footage would be because there's no activity on the camera.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Anytime we call it the skipping process. Anything, if you're looking at the camera and it's going from 1 minute to the next and there's nothing in that minute, it's because the camera is skipped because there's no activity for the camera to record.
And is that all dependent on the specific camera and how it's calibrated to the motion sensor?
Yes, ma'am. Each camera is different in different areas. Yes, ma'am.
And when you viewed the video, is there anything that you did with the video to preserve it?
Yes, we downloaded the video from the NICE system. What we started doing, we did a timeline of the events. We started downloading pertinent videos, and we saved that to our desktops to get them, and then eventually to the DVDs.
And what was the time frame?
I think roughly the time frame was 2:37 in the morning until the next morning around 12, before noon.
Approximately how many different camera views did you preserve related to this case?
I think between 13 and 15, I think I'm in the ballpark, probably 13 to 15 video viewpoints from the incident.
And that's what you've preserved for the entire time block. Did you view other images or other cameras just for specific times that you preserved specifically, or did you do anything specifically to kind of highlight specific points or specific things?
The whole time, of course, we also record certain clips in between each area.
And once you viewed the footage, preserved it, kind of what was your next steps?
After we reviewed the footage and recorded it, and we started to try to ID the persons involved.
And Detective, or Lieutenant Detective, I'm going to pass up a document to you. I've already shown this to Defense Counsel. Your Honor, may I have permission to adjust the podium so that I am not blocking the screen behind me?
Need some help?
Potentially. Just right here would be great. Thank you. Lieutenant Harville, do you recognize the document that was handed to you?
Yes, and that is the floor plan for Gillette Hall, second floor.
Your Honor, at this time, I would request that that be admitted as the first numbered exhibit, and I would also request permission to publish it to the jury.
Exhibit number 1. You have it on your laptop?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Lieutenant, can you see the image on the screen?
I can.
Am I far enough back?
You're fine.
Hold on just a second.
Will it appear on our screen?
No.
It will only this screen?
Right. And we're checking to see if it's streaming through as well. So, go ahead.
Could you describe what's shown in this image?
Yes, and that's the second floor of Gillette.
And as the second floor, can you kind of describe the Gillette building itself, entrances and exits?
Yes, ma'am. It's a building with approximately six floors, and if you look at each one of those little boxes you see are rooms or dorm rooms for students, usually assigned two per person, 2 per room. And if you look at 234, if the building, that will be the circle. 234, 35, that would be the circle on the outside. That's one exit off the first floor. Yes, ma'am. And then if you look at what it says lobby and see the exit, that's the second exit off of Gillette. And you actually can go off of Gillette on the second floor, on the first floor off of Gillette.
And can you describe kind of...
Actually, outside, on the second level is, on the first level, that is the circle. It's called Gillette Circle, and it's just a circle where people usually come by and drop people off to get into the building.
And the exit that you've described here on the second floor of Gillette, is it pedestrian only, or can you drive up and park?
No, I'm sorry, you can't drive up and park. It's only pedestrian only.
And your review of the surveillance video in this case, and based on your investigation, could you describe, using this diagram, kind of the path that was taken and where the 4 people that you identified took the unconscious female?
Yes, ma'am. They came up on the elevators where you see the EE on the floor plan. They came up on those elevators to the second floor. Yes, and they start walking to my left all the way down the corridor, passing the lobby, and they went into room 214. I'm sorry, 213. They went into room 213.
And so you go down the hall, and then that hallway, it ends in room 213.
Yes, ma'am. The hall 214, 215 is the last rooms, and 213 is around the corner.
Detective Harville, did you determine who was assigned to room 213?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was that?
The 2 people assigned to room 213, it was Brandon Vandenburg and Mac Prelude.
Lieutenant Harville, I'm going to pass you 2 discs. Again, these have been shown to defense counsel. If you can take a look at them and let me know if you recognize them.
Yes, I do.
And what are those?
They were to video surveillance files that was downloaded and reformatted to be viewed on a different player, but they're the 2 discs that we downloaded.
And can you describe what it means that they were reformatted? Is it possible to take the video that comes directly off the server and play it on any computer?
No, ma'am. The NICE system is set up, you have to have...
Hold on. You're calling it NICE system, N-I-C-E?
N-I-C-E, yes, sir.
Okay.
The NICE system is set up where you have to have the NICE player as well to play it. And if you want to play it on a different computer format, you have to download it and convert it to a different type of it was.
And during the investigation as well as preparation for the trial, have you viewed most of the original surveillance video?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And have you also viewed the clips that are placed on those discs?
Yes, ma'am.
And are the images that appear on the disc, are they the same as what appears on the original surveillance video?
Yes, the surveillance is the same.
And Your Honor, at this time I would ask that the disc, which contained 35 individual video files, be admitted into evidence. Your Honor, due to the size of the files, I have these loaded on the computer, and Lieutenant Harville has actually viewed the loaded version. And Lieutenant Harville, is the version that is already loaded on the computer, is it the same as what's on the discs?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would request permission to publish that to the jury. I'm going to place this image on the screen. If you could begin just by describing exactly what is shown.
That is Gillette Circle. It's one of the video cameras on outside Gillette facing the circle, one of the entranceways. And the timestamp is, I believe, 2/27/27. It's on the 6/23/2013.
And I believe that you've already stated in the top left corner, does that give the name of the camera for each
Yes.
clip?
Anytime you look at the video, the top left-hand corner, my left, will tell you which camera it is, and that's the Gillette Circle. That's number 2.
And in the bottom right, there is a time number. Can you describe what that is?
Bottom right.
Yes.
You're talking about the play number? Oh, the bottom right, that tells you, if you look at the left and right, that tells you how big the clip is.
So it actually gives you the time segment for that particular clip.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Lieutenant Harville, I have pressed play. If you can describe what is shown.
Yes, ma'am. It appears that a vehicle is coming up to Gillette Circle. It has its headlights on. Appears to be a black vehicle. He's walking up towards Gillette Circle, which is one of the entranceways.
Lieutenant Harville, I've just paused the video. Did you identify who this person is?
Yes, we did.
And who is that?
That is Brandon Vandenburg. He's walking up to the card reader, and the car's, I guess the lights are going on.
Is that the gold card system
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
described earlier?
He's walking away from the vehicle towards the doors. There's a set of doors on Gillette Hall. He appears to be talking to another individual, actually 2 individuals.
And did you identify those individuals?
Yes, I did.
Could you describe who they are?
The person on the left wearing a white T-shirt and appears to be black shorts and carrying a bag in his left hand, that is Jabrian McKenzie. The person on the left in the black shirt and camouflage pants is Brandon Banks. And they appear to be standing next to the vehicle on the passenger side. Doors being open to the vehicle, passenger's door. And now 2 more persons are walking towards the vehicle.
And did you identify who those persons were?
Yes, we did.
And who is that?
The female on the left is Quayla Roaster, I believe I pronounced that right, and the person on the right of her is Cory Batey. And they all appear to be standing around the vehicle, looking inside. They appear to be looking inside the vehicle. There's 2 more individuals walking towards the vehicle.
Do you identify those people as part of this investigation?
No, I did not. It appears that Miss Roaster is leaving, and Mr. Vandenburg, it appears, picking up appears to be carrying her to the inside of Gillette Hall.
Which these clips are set up where they just start one right after the other. I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Can you describe the area that's shown in this surveillance view?
Yes, and that is a camera looking at the doors when you come into Gillette, and that's the 2 doors on the first floor of Gillette, and that's a camera looking at those 2 doors. And to the right is an office area, usually for the RA, which is a residential advisor.
I am going to press play. The time is 2:31:36.
And what they just did is he came in and went to the door towards, that's the elevators on the first floor.
Viewpoint that we just saw
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
other side of that door.
When they opened the door, this is the immediate area of Gillette first floor, and I believe that's Gillette 1 elevator. And the time frame is 2/31/46 on the same date.
Could you describe kind of who each person is?
Yes, the person in the white shirt and the blue pants who's putting the alleged victim down on the floor in the elevator is Brandon Vandenburg. The person standing there getting into the elevator now with the kind of a blue shirt on with spots, blue jeans, that is Cory Batey. He also has a white watch on his left hand. The person there he's standing next to right now is Mr. McKenzie.
And could you describe what's shown? We've now gone to the 4th clip.
Yes, that's actually inside Gillette elevator number 1. You tell it on the left-hand corner, up on the corner, and the time frame is 2:31:57, and that's inside of the elevator that they got into.
And I have press play if you can describe what is shown.
Okay. The elevator door is open. That is Brandon Banks. That's Mr. Vandenburg carrying the alleged victim. He puts her on the floor of the elevator.
Could you describe Mr. Banks kind of specifically?
Yes, Mr. Banks is wearing white and black shoes. He has, on his right hand, he has some, I think, wristbands. He's wearing it looks a black and red hat. He also has a black shirt, a couple of gold chains, I believe, around his neck. That's Mr. Batey coming in the elevator.
And specifically, do you notice anything on Mr. Banks's wrist that identify him?
Mr. Banks, on his left wrist, he has some bands. I think a brown band on his hand, and on his right wrist, he has a couple of bands on his hand. That's actually now they're actually on the second floor of Gillette Hall. And at this point in time, Mr. Banks is standing over the alleged victim. In the background, Mr. Vandenburg is coming from the area which was a bathroom area. And at this point, both Mr. Vandenburg and Mr. Banks appear to be talking. Mr. Vandenburg appears to be bending over the alleged victim. Appears now Mr. Vandenburg is picking up the alleged victim and bringing her out of the elevator. Okay, the video's changed. This is Gillette Second East Corridor. This is the video camera is looking towards the two elevators on the second floor, and the bathrooms are on your left and the elevators are on your right. And I believe the time frame starts at
2:32:34.
I'm sorry, I can't see. 2:30. Yes, 2:34. 2:32:34. I'm sorry.
And this is the viewpoint directly outside the elevators of what we just saw, the interior of the elevator. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. This is the two elevators we just watched. This is the elevators on the second floor.
And for the record, this is clip number 5. I have to press play if you can describe what is shown.
Yes, ma'am. The elevator door is opening. Mr. Vandenburg is stepping out of the elevator. He's stepping back in the elevator. He's stepping back out of the elevator. He's against a wall. And now he's appeared to be going into the bathroom. And Mr. Banks is still inside, kind of outside of the elevator. Mr. Vandenburg appears to be coming out of the bathroom. He's standing in the in between the elevator and the corridor. Ms. Vandenburg is now back into the elevator totally. Now, Mr. Banks and Mr. Vandenburg is coming out of the elevator. The alleged victim is now on the floor of west or east corridor. Mr. Vandenburg is backing away, appears to be grabbing something from his pocket. Mr. Banks just threw something at Mr. Vandenburg and he swiped it away. And again, Mr. Vandenburg has something in his left hand. Mr. Banks is stepping away from the alleged victim and is in the door frame, standing next to the door frame of the bathroom, and he also has what appears to be something in his right hand. And to me, they appear to be taking pictures of the alleged victim.
And could you describe the timestamp at this time? Can you see? It appears to be 2:35:18.
Okay, yes, I can see the 2:35:18. Okay. Again, there appear to be taking pictures of the alleged victim while she's on the ground. We're on the floor, I'm sorry. It appears that both Mr. Banks and Mr. Vandenburg is trying to pick the alleged victim up, and now they are appears to be trying to carry her. And now they are carrying her, and they're going away from the elevators. And now Mr. Batey and Mr. McKenzie has come out of the elevator. Hey, this is Gillette, second floor east. This is the corridor away from the elevator going back towards room 213, but this is a corridor right after the elevator. And this camera is looking away from the elevator going back down the hall.
And this is clip number 6 for the record. I believe it begins at 2:36:24.
It appears that Mr. Vandenburg and Mr. Banks is still carrying the alleged victim while Mr. Batey and Mr. McKenzie is following both of them. And now they've stopped. They appear to be talking. Now it appears that Mr. Vandenburg is picking up the alleged victim and carrying her down the rest of the corridor with Mr. Banks, Mr. Batey, and Mr. McKenzie with him. And they're going into the lobby area of Gillette.
And can you describe this viewpoint, which is clip number 7?
Yes, this is Gillette, second floor. This is a corridor coming, they just left one corridor and then they come into the next corridor, and this is a camera that's looking towards the corridor they just left.
The timestamp begins approximately 2:37:27.
Again, it appears that Mr. Vandenburg is carrying the alleged victim with Mr. Banks walking in front, opening the door, and Mr. Batey is walking as well towards him, and then Mr. McKenzie is talking to a female while he's walking towards the corridor.
Lieutenant Harville, could you describe what is shown in the next image, which is clip number 8?
This is Gillette's second west corridor. This is where room 213, 214, 215, and 216 around the corner is at. This is a camera that is, they just passed coming out of the lobby into the other corridor. This is a camera, you have to open the door and then go into the next section of Gillette. I think I can actually read that. The time frame is 2:37:40.
Thank you.
That's Mr. Vandenburg carrying the alleged victim. He's turning to the left towards room 213. Mr. Batey, Mr. McKenzie is following behind Mr. Vandenburg.
And this image is the end of that hallway that was shown in the diagram, correct?
Yes, ma'am. The image 213, 214 is on your left. If you keep going down, and then 15, 16 is on the right. And there's also a bathroom in between. And that was Mr. McKenzie going left, appears to be going towards room 213.
And the time, at the time Mr. McKenzie walked past, I believe it was 2:38. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And an individual just came out of the bathroom, which we did not identify.
Lieutenant Harville, can you note the time?
Yes, the time is 2:40:12.
what time does it pick up, General?
Your Honor, the next thing that's shown is at 2:48 and 55 seconds.
All right. That's fine. And I presume there's no way to speed it up for these next 5 minutes?
I can fast forward it if the court would prefer. Lieutenant Harville, I'm increased the speed of the playback, so this is not real time, this is 4 times. And I will stop it at the next time of activity, but if you notice anything, please let me know and I will stop it earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
I've returned the video playback to normal real-time speed. Could you note the time, Lieutenant Harville?
Yes, it's 2:48:47. Okay, that's Mr. McKenzie coming around the corner and appears to be going into the bathroom. Okay, it appears to be Ms. McKenzie coming out of the bathroom, and also another individual that's going to the bathroom. And Ms. McKenzie went back, appears to be to room 213.
Which I just paused it so we could note the time of what you've just described.
Time is 2:49:42.
I believe the next activity is about to occur. Could you go ahead and note the time for the record?
Yes, ma'am, it's 2:50:55. Okay, the other individual is coming out of the bathroom, appears to be heading to room 214.
And did you identify who that person is?
Yes, ma'am. That's his room. That's actually Jake Bernstein. He's he's coming back out of his room around the corner. Now it appears to be Mr. Bernstein walking back towards his room.
And you've described the room as room number 214, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. The door is opening and it appears that Mr. Bernstein is going into a room. Time frame is 2:52:06.
Your Honor, I believe that we have approximately 13 minutes of no activity. Would the court like me to increase the playback?
Please. I don't want to just sit here. 13 minutes.
I've actually increased the playback this time to 8 times the speed. Lieutenant Harville, if you see anything that occurs, please
Okay.
let me know. Lieutenant Harville, I've returned the playback to the normal speed. Could you please note the time for the record?
Yes, ma'am. It's 3:05:09.
That's approximately 13 minutes later where we had no activity on the surveillance video. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, now you got Mr. McKenzie come out of the room, appears to have something in his right hand. To me, it looks like a phone in his right hand. He appeared to be wiping it off or wiping it on his shirt. And he's standing in front of the bathroom. Now Mr. Banks is coming out. He appears to have his shirt off, walking towards the corridor. Now Mr. Vandenburg's coming out. He has his shirt off as well, now he's wearing a red shirt. He had something behind his hand or his back. His hand was behind his back. And now Mr. McKenzie, went into the bathroom, and now Mr. Banks is going into the bathroom. Mr. Vandenberg's coming out, appears to be looking at something in his left hand. He's walking back towards his room area.
Just for the record, can you describe Mr. Vandenburg? Does he appear differently than he did when he first entered the room?
Yes, he has. He doesn't have a shirt on. He has a red shorts.
Lieutenant Harville, I believe the next activity is about to occur. Could you note the time for the record?
Yes, ma'am, it's 3:07:51. That's Mr. McKenzie walking out of the bathroom, going towards the area of room 213. It's also Mr. Banks coming out of the bathroom, walking towards the area of 213. They appear to be standing in the little corridor between 213, 214, and the bathroom. There be Mr. Banks coming out. He's walking back and forth between the little area of 213 and the bathroom area. Now he's standing in, appears to be standing in the hallway. Now Mr. Banks has left the area of the video surveillance. Appeared to be Mr. Batey for a few seconds coming out, and now he's going back in the area. And now appears to be Mr. Vandenburg walking up to the camera with a towel on his head. And now the towel goes over the camera, and it stays on there. I forget the exact amount of time. The time frame is 3:10:00.
And does the towel remain over the camera for the duration of this 49-minute and 21-second clip?
I believe so, yes.
With the court's permission, I'm going to increase the playback speed to the end of the clip.
All right.
And could you describe the timestamp?
Yes, ma'am. Time is 3:26:37, and now the towels came off of the camera.
Lieutenant Harville, could you describe what is shown in this 9th video clip?
Yes, that is the second floor of Gillette. That's the corridor, the same corridor that was coming from. That's the corridor right outside the immediate area that we were just watching. Okay, that seemed to be Mr. Banks and Mr. McKenzie leaving, and that's the door to open is a stairway. They can go down the first floor or go up to the floors.
I believe the timestamp here says 3:11:05.
Okay.
And I have pressed play again if you could describe what's shown. Lieutenant Harville, I believe our next activity is about to occur. If you could note the timestamp for the record.
Appears to be 3:11:46. That's Mr. McKenzie walking away from the corridor going towards the lobby of Gillette.
No, no object to this characterization. It's not Mr. McKenzie.
I'm sorry, Mr. Batey, I'm sorry. Okay, now Mr. Vandenburg's walking out. He's going to the corridor, the stairway.
And could you describe what is shown in this 10th clip?
There is Gillette floor, 6th floor. That's the west corridor. That's the camera looking down the west corridor of the 6th floor.
The timestamp, I believe, is 3:11:43.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's Mr. McKenzie and Mr. Banks walking out of the stairway and going towards the corridor.
And the door that they just exited, could you describe that in relation to what we saw in the previous clip?
That's the door from the stairway.
The same stairwell we saw them enter?
Yes, it's the stairway going up. Like you can go down or up. It's a stairway inside of Gillette.
The previous clip, which was clip number 10, showed Mr. McKenzie and Mr. Banks going down a corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Through your investigation, did you determine their room assignments?
Yes, I did. They both were assigned to, I believe, room 614 on the 6th floor.
And did you determine that they entered their dorm room?
Yes, they went to their dorm room.
In this 11th clip, could you describe what is shown here? Just the viewpoint.
Oh, that's the viewpoint. That's the elevators on the 2nd floor. And it's down the corridor on the same 2nd floor.
And appears to be a white piece of paper outside the elevator.
Yes, there was a white sheet of paper outside of the, I think, elevator number 1.
And is this the same image that we saw earlier, Mr. Vandenburg and Mr. Banks?
They're in the same floor we watched earlier when they brought the victim out of the elevator.
And for the record, the timestamp is 3:12:18. I'm going to press play if you could describe what is shown.
Yes, this is Mr. Batey. And I believe he just pushed the button to get on the elevator. It appears he's putting food in his mouth, now he's walking on the elevator.
And could you describe the viewpoint of this next clip, which is actually 11B? Our previous clip for the record is labeled on the disc as 11A, and this is 11B.
Yes, this is Gillette elevator number 1. Time frame is 3:12:19.
I'm going to press play if you could describe what is shown.
Okay, elevator doors opening. Mr. Batey is outside of the elevator. He's walking into the elevator. He has food in his mouth, it appears. A plate in his right hand now. Well, actually in his left hand now. He's in his back pocket, reaching out, what I'm assuming to get the gold card to activate the elevator. And that's what he's doing now. He's using the gold card to activate the elevator, go up. He just appears to me he's pushed the 6th floor. And he put appears a gold card back in his back pocket. Now he's walking out of the elevator.
And could you describe what is shown in this image, which is labeled clip number 12?
Yes, and this is the video surveillance of the elevator on the 6th floor. And it's looking towards the elevator, then you got the door goes to this corridor on the 6th floor. And it appears to be Mr. Batey walking out of the elevator. He's opening the door and he's going towards the corridor.
And this next clip is clip number 13. Could you describe the viewpoint of this camera?
Yes, this is Gillette 6 Stairway East. This is video surveillance on the 6th floor looking down what we call Stairway East, the east corridor of Gillette 6th floor. That's Mr. Batey walking down the corridor. He appears to be stopping in front of Mr. Banks and Mr. McKenzie's room. He appears to be standing there eating. Now he goes into the room and he comes back out of the room. It appears he's going to the bathroom. There's a bathroom right in front of Mr. Banks's room.
Which I am going to back up briefly. That clip was so short. This is the clip where you were just describing. Could you describe the timestamp at the time that Mr. Batey, which again is very short, could you describe the timestamp for this clip? Can you see it?
It appears to be 3:26:23. And it appears that Mr. Batey came out of the room and went into the bathroom.
Which again, that previous clip that you just described, Mr. Batey exiting Mr. Banks and Mr. McKenzie's room towards the bathroom area, was number 14. This next one is clip number 15, and the timestamp is 3:27:22, I believe is the beginning.
Yes, this is Mr. Batey coming out of the bathroom area going towards his room. He appears to stop, bent over, getting some water. There's a water fountain there. And he's standing in front of his door, and a door open from the the corridor, and it appears to be, that's actually Mac Prelude walking past him, going down the corridor.
And did you identify Mac Prelude?
Yes.
What relation does he have to this?
Mac Prelude was the roommate of Brandon Vandenburg.
From dorm 213, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And this next clip, which is number 16, it begins at 3:37:53. Could you describe what's shown here?
That's Mr. Batey walking out of his room. He's appears to be walking towards the bathroom. He's carrying a towel. He's shirtless. He appears to be underwear on, which is, I describe it as American flag underwear. The towel dropped off his back, and now he's picking up, and it appears he's going into the bathroom.
And the next clip, which is clip number 17,
Okay,
it starts at 3:44:05, I believe. We're half a second into it.
Yes, ma'am.
I've pressed play. If you could describe what's shown.
That's Mr. Batey walking back from the bathroom area, going towards his room. He's carrying a shower caddy, I guess, what it is, and now he's going into his room. He also had a towel wrapped around him.
And could you describe the next clip, which is number 18?
Yes, its time frame is 3:48:07. It's the same corridor. That's Mr. Batey walking out. He's still shirtless, but it appears to have some type of shorts on and the same shoes, and he's walking towards the corridor.
And could you describe the viewpoint that's shown in this next clip, which is number 19?
That's the surveillance video from the elevator on the 6th floor.
I believe it's 3:48:13. It's
Yes.
hard to see with the coloring behind it.
That's Mr. Batey walking out of the corridor. He's pushing a button on the elevator. Appears to have a phone in his hand, his right hand. He also has white shoes or sandals on and black pants. Now he's walking into the elevator.
And when Mr. Batey just got on the elevator, do you have to swipe your gold card to go down?
No, you do not. You do not have to, once you're in the building, once you're on the floors, you can not use your card to go down.
And could you describe what is shown in this next clip, which is clip number 20?
Okay, its time frame is 3:49:00, and that is the video surveillance on the inside of Gillette, but looking towards the outside of Gillette Circle.
And this is on the first floor, correct?
Yes, ma'am, the first floor of Gillette. Okay, if Mr. Batey walking towards the double doors, he opens the door, and a female comes into the building.
And could you describe the view of the next clip, which is clip number 21?
Yes, this is the video surveillance of the sixth floor, and it's the elevator on the sixth floor, looking towards the corridor of the sixth floor.
I believe it begins at 3:50:05.
Okay, that's the white female walking out. She's pointing at something, and she's following Mr. Batey. He's opened the door, going back towards the corridor.
And this next clip, which is number 22?
That is the sixth floor stair east. That's the east corridor, and the time frame is 3:50:14. That's sixth floor Gillette. Doors open and Mr. Batey is walking with the female behind him. He's opening his door and the female follows him into the door.
Through your investigation into this case, did you pull any other video prior to the incident that might be related?
Yes, ma'am. What we did is we went to start trying to find out what the four males did before this incident, so we started looking at their activities before the incident.
And could you describe what is shown in this next clip, which is marked 22A?
That is Gillette elevator number 1. That's the camera inside of elevator number 1 at Gillette, and the time frame is 1:27:58. It's the same date, 6/23/13. Okay, the door is opening, and I believe that is Miss Quayla Roaster walking into the elevator. That's Mr. Batey standing next to her. Another female that I didn't identify, and another male that I didn't identify. And they're all four in an elevator. The other person is apparently looking at his phone. The one in the blue, the male in the blue shirt. Now they appear to be walking out of the elevator.
In this next clip, which is labeled 22B, could you describe what is shown in this clip?
That's the Gillette elevator, same elevator 1. The time frame is 2:29:31 on the same date. That's Miss Roaster coming in the elevator, followed by Mr. Batey. He appears to have a phone in his left hand, and the phone's up to his ear. appear to be leaving the elevator. Appears to be the first floor. They're leaving the elevator on.
Lieutenant Harville, the next video clip is labeled 23A. Could you describe what view is shown in this image?
This is the video surveillance looking at the second floor of Gillette. I'm sorry. This is the video surveillance looking at second floor Gillette, right next to the stairway in the corridor.
And could you describe the timestamp?
I can't see it, I'm sorry.
I believe it is 3/12/31,
Okay.
which I believe that this is the area that we just saw before we kind of followed the other three parties throughout the dorm.
Yes, this is on the,
I'm object to leaving.
All right, but although he can't see the timestamp, and so she's just trying to help him a little bit, so.
Lieutenant Harville, do you know kind of when this occurred, the
Yes.
3/12?
This happened, the 312 happened, it's the same area, and this is the area outside of the little corridor area of room 213 and 214. That's Mr. Vandenburg walking out of the area. Now he's going towards the stairs. He appeared.
And Lieutenant Harville, the clip that we just saw, that was actually shown earlier, correct? In
Yes,
the
this
footage?
was too, yes.
And could you describe the next clip? Is it that same camera view?
It's the same camera view on the second floor in the same corridor, looking at the stairway door and also going back towards the lobby.
And the timestamp is 3/15/30.
It's Mr. Vandenburg coming out of the stairway. He has a chair now, and he put the chair down. He has a phone to his ear with his left hand. He's going back towards the corridor where his room is located.
Which that was 23B. The next clip is 24, and I believe the timestamp is 3/21/02. Could you describe what is shown in this?
Yes, that's the same corridor, and the door is open. Mr. Vandenberg's walking out past the stairway, going towards the lobby. Appears to still have a phone in his hand, and he's going towards the lobby area of Gillette.
And could you describe this next clip, which is 25? What area is this?
This is second floor of Gillette, and this is the video surveillance camera looking at the double doors coming into the second floor off of Gillette. There appears to be several individuals outside waiting. Mr. Vandenburg opened the door. He opens the door, and individuals are coming in. There's 4 individuals that came in.
And this individual here, did you identify who that is?
Yes, that's DeAndre Woods.
And this next clip, which is 26, could you describe what is shown here?
That's the same corridor we were looking at on the second floor, looking at towards the lobby of the second floor Gillette. Okay, the individuals, if Mr. Vandenberg are walking towards the camera.
Could you describe, I've just paused it, what is shown and whether or not you identified the person shown in this video?
Yes, ma'am. The male individual in the black shirt and the gray-looking shorts is Chris Boyd. That's Mr. Vandenburg with the person, the black tank top and with the beard, the taller male. That's Dylan Vanderwall. And the person behind him, the shorter male with the black shirt, that's Michael Retta.
And then that's Mr. Woods that you've already identified.
Yes, that's Mr. Woods walking behind him. Okay, that's Mr. Woods leaving the area, going back into the viewpoint of the video surveillance in the corridor.
I believe the timestamp is 3:23:53.
He's going the stairway, that's the stairway door. He's going towards the stairway door.
Which I believe there was just a skip in the time.
Yes.
And is that what you've previously testified about?
Yes, the video system, as I said before, is set up where if there's no activity, the video will skip, not recording the non-activity. And that is Mac Prelude walking out of the corridor. Now he's going back. He has a cell phone in his right hand. And he's standing there looking at towards the video system, but also towards the area where the rooms are at. Now, that's Chris Boyd walking, Mr. Dylan Vanderwall, Mr. Vandenburg, and Mr. Retta walking away from the video camera towards the lobby of Gillette. That's Mr. Boyd coming back towards the video surveillance camera. And Mr. Retta is standing in the hall.
And what was the timestamp? I'm sorry, I believe it's 3:26:42 right now.
Yes, 3:26:42. And now both Mr. Boyd and Mr. Retta is walking towards the lobby of Gillette, second floor.
The next video clip, which is labeled 27, could you describe what is shown here?
Yes, that is the video surveillance on the doors, the second floor lobby doors, the exit going off the second floor.
And the timestamp appears to be 3:27:06:07.
Yes. That's Mr. Vandenburg, Mr. Boyd, Mr. Retta, Mr. Dylan Vandenwall going out of Gillette to the double doors off the second floor.
And the next clip, which is clip number 28, could you describe what is shown here?
Yes, and that is East Hall. East Hall is another building for our students on Vanderbilt's campus. And that's East Hall, third floor, west, just the west corridor of that area.
And I believe the timestamp is 3:09:59.
Yes, and that's right before all those three came over Gillette.
And the next clip, which is labeled number 29, could you describe what is shown here?
Yes, that's the same corridor, east, third floor, west, and I believe the time frame is 3/14/25 on the same date.
And Your Honor, this clip is 20 minutes long. I don't know if...
Is there any activity on it?
There is, however, there is a period of activity that we could play on a faster speed because it's, I think the lieutenant can describe it, and it's not something we need to watch in real time.
Okay, please.
Okay, that's Mr. Boyd walking out, has the phone to his right hand. Mr. Retta is behind him. That's Mr. Dylan Vanderwall walking out of his room. All three of them are standing in the corridor now.
I wonder if you could direct Lieutenant Harwell, he's gotten away from what appears to be happening as opposed to just stating what he
Okay, as best as you can, say what you appear to perceive.
It appears to me that they're still standing in the corridor of East Hall, and it appears to me that they are communicating with each other. Mr. Aretta appears to be going back to his room, followed by Mr. Boyd and Mr. Vandenwall.
I'm going to increase the speed a couple of times.
Okay, that's Mr. Dylan Vandenwall appears to be walking out of Mr. Boyd's room, going back to his room.
And it's 3:17:28. I've just increased it to 2 times the speed.
Appears to be Mr. Aretta and Mr. Boyd coming out of their room, going towards the stairway of East Hall.
And for the record, the timestamp was approximately 3:17:55 when they exited.
Now it appears to be Mr. Dylan Vanderwall going towards the same exit stairway.
Lieutenant Harville, could you note the timestamp?
The time is 3:18:30.
Which I believe
I'm
it-
sorry, 3:18:40.
And then now the timestamp.
Now the timestamp is 3:30:52. And now it appears that now Mr. Vandenburg, Mr. Vandenwall, Mr. Boyd, Mr. Aretta is going back into what appears to be Mr. Boyd's room. Now Mr. Vandenberg's coming out of Mr. Boyd's room, appears to be going into Mr. Vandenwall's room. Now all 4 of them appears to be standing outside the corridor communicating. And now they appear to be, I believe, going into Mr. Samuel's room.
Okay, John, I'm going to have to stop you at this point because lunch is here for the jury, and we're going to take up right after the lunch break. I want you to enjoy your lunch. Of course, you cannot discuss this case. Just enjoy your lunch over the next hour, and we'll resume in 1 hour. All right?
All right.
Okay, we're going to take a lunch break. Mr. Cowley, your client has got about 5 minutes to get here.
I will keep looking at him.
Yeah, you've been looking since Friday, haven't you?
I found him on Friday.
You found him, but we didn't.
Exactly.
All right.
There's a problem.
Okay.
Board is in a lunch recess for 1 hour.